think being attractive is just about looks? No. Let me tell you something most people won't. Attraction starts before you even open your mouth. It's not about how tall you are, how much money you make, or what kind of car you drive. It's about the energy you bring, the way you carry yourself, and the way people feel when you walk into a room. You don't have to be everyone's type. You just have to own who you are. And here's the part nobody talks about. Some of the most attractive men out there don't even know they're attractive. Why? Because they're focused on things that actually matter. Their presence, their discipline, their respect, their ability to stay grounded when everything around them is falling apart. That's rare. That's magnetic. That's what draws people in without even trying. But here's the problem. Most men are so busy trying to be liked that they forget what actually makes them irresistible. You think it's the perfect pickup line, the fitted shirt, the status update? No, it's the way you move when you're not trying to impress anyone. It's the way you set standards, keep your peace, and don't chase validation. That's what people notice, even when you don't. So if you've ever looked in the mirror and underestimated yourself, I want you to lean in, because there are 9 things you might already be doing that make you 10x more attractive than you think, and you don't even realize it yet. Let's talk about it. You stay calm under pressure and don't let your emotions control you. That alone makes you stand out in a world where people are quick to react, quick to explode, and quick to crumble. Emotional discipline isn't loud. It's not about appearing tough or pretending nothing bothers you. It's about knowing exactly what you feel and choosing how to respond rather than letting those feelings choose for you. And when you do that, people notice. They might not say it out loud, but they feel it. Your calmness speaks for you. It says, I've been through storms before and I didn't break. In situations where others panic or fold, you hold steady. When someone insults you, you don't lash out, you assess. When tension rises in a room, you don't add to the fire, you regulate. That energy is powerful. It makes people feel safe around you, even if they don't know why. And that safety, that groundedness is one of the most attractive qualities a man can carry, because in a world that often feels unstable and chaotic, you become a source of peace. Most men are taught to either suppress emotions completely or be consumed by them. One leads to disconnection, the other to volatility. But you found the middle path. You feel your emotions fully, but you don't let them drive the car. You observe your triggers, you understand your reactions, and you make conscious choices. That kind of emotional intelligence doesn't just make you more attractive, it makes you a leader, whether you realize it or not. You don't fold under criticism. You don't get defensive the moment someone challenges you. You listen, you absorb, and if there's truth in what's being said, you adapt. If there's not, you move on without needing to prove yourself. That restraint, that clarity, it's rare. And people are drawn to it because it signals maturity, presence, and control. You're not just reacting to life, you're responding with purpose. That's not just attractive, it's powerful. When you're calm under pressure, you also show confidence without having to say a word. You're not easily shaken, and that makes people want to follow your lead. In an argument, you don't yell to make your point. You hold your position with clarity and intention. In stressful moments, you become even more focused. That stillness you carry, that's what makes people trust you. Because real strength doesn't need to prove itself. It just is. You understand that chaos outside doesn't need to become chaos inside. So you protect your peace like it's sacred, and it is. You've built it through experience, through pain, through learning when to engage and when to let go. You've been in rooms filled with tension and chosen not to be another source of noise. You faced betrayal, disrespect, even heartbreak, and didn't let those moments shape you into someone bitter. That self-control, that's attractive on a level that transcends physical looks. It's something people feel in your presence before they even hear your voice. You also don't feel the need to control everything around you. That's the paradox. Because you're so in control of yourself, you don't micromanage, manipulate, or chase outcomes. You allow things to unfold without forcing them. That energy is magnetic because it's rooted in self-trust. People sense that you don't need anything to prove your value. And that's exactly what makes you so valuable. You've mastered something most people never will, the ability to be fully aware of how you feel without being ruled by it. You're not trying to impress anyone. You're not reacting for attention. You're not seeking sympathy. You're just standing in your own presence, steady, clear, and emotionally aligned. And even if you don't see it yourself, that calm you carry makes people lean in because it's not just rare, it's real. You have strong boundaries and don't tolerate disrespect no matter who it's from. That's the kind of quiet strength most people overlook until they feel it firsthand. Boundaries aren't about being aggressive or confrontational. They're about knowing who you are, what you value, and what you're not willing to accept. And when you live with that kind of clarity, you naturally command respect because you show the world how to treat you without ever having to raise your voice. A man with strong boundaries doesn't need to explain himself over and over. He doesn't bend just to make others comfortable. He doesn't shrink himself to avoid conflict or say yes just to be liked. He understands that saying no is a complete sentence. And when someone tries to cross the line, whether it's through manipulation, guilt tripping, or passive aggression, he doesn't match their energy. He simply steps back because his peace is more important than approval. That kind of self-respect is magnetic. It shows that you value yourself enough to walk away from anything that doesn't align with your standards. You don't tolerate disrespect from a partner, a friend, a boss, or even family, not because you're cold, but because you know what it took to build your self-worth and you're not letting anyone tear it down. People notice that. They might test it at first, but when they see you don't flinch, they shift how they approach you. You don't have to demand respect, you embody it. You don't chase people who show you they don't value you. You don't entertain mixed signals or stay in situations where you're not appreciated. The moment you sense inconsistency, manipulation, or emotional games, you create distance, not to punish, but to protect. And that boundary, it speaks louder than any argument ever could. It tells people, I don't need to be here. I choose to be. And if this isn't mutual, setting boundaries also means you're not afraid of solitude. You don't rely on others to define your worth. You enjoy your own company. That kind of independence is rare and deeply attractive because it shows that your world doesn't fall apart when someone leaves. You're not afraid of being alone because you spend enough time building a life you're proud of. You don't need chaos, drama, or constant attention to feel significant. Your significance comes from within. You don't tolerate disrespect in conversations either. If someone talks over you, mocks you, or dismisses you, you don't escalate, you disengage. You remove your energy from environments that don't honor it. And that calm, intentional detachment is more powerful than any emotional reaction because it shows you're not desperate to be heard. You're confident in your voice whether people listen or not. Boundaries also reflect emotional maturity. You're not out here seeking revenge or trying to win interactions. You just draw the line, and once it's crossed, you act. Not emotionally, but with conviction. And that conviction becomes your reputation. People know not to play with you, not because you're intimidating, but because you're anchored. You're not looking for fights. You're just not tolerating games. It doesn't matter how attractive someone is, how long you've known them, or how much you care. When someone disrespects your time, your energy, or your values, you're out. That's not bitterness, that's wisdom. You've learned that loving yourself means protecting yourself. And that self-protection, that boundary, that's where your real power begins. You walk with purpose and carry yourself with quiet confidence. That's the kind of presence that enters a room before you even speak. It's not flashy, it's not loud, it's not attention seeking, but it's undeniable. You're not trying to prove yourself, you simply know who you are. And that level of grounded self-assurance is rare, especially in a world full of noise, performance, and fake posturing. When you move with purpose, everything about you communicates direction. Your body language, your eye contact, your pace, it all says, I know where I'm going. And people are drawn to that because so many are wandering, unsure of themselves, reacting to life instead of creating it. When they see someone who's intentional, someone who doesn't stumble through his day, but walks like every step has meaning, they take notice. Not because you're forcing it, but because that kind of clarity can't be faked. Quiet confidence isn't arrogance. It's not walking around like you're better than everyone else. It's walking like you don't need to compare yourself to anyone at all. You're not competing, you're focused. You're not shouting for validation. You're simply showing up in full alignment with who you are. You don't need applause or recognition to know your worth. And that's what makes you magnetic, because people are used to desperation and used to loud. So when they see someone who doesn't chase attention but naturally commands it, they feel that shift. You know that real confidence lives in your actions, not your words. So you don't spend time talking about what you're going to do. You just do it. You keep your promises to yourself. You set goals and follow through. You know what matters to you, and you don't let distractions pull you off course. And when you walk through the world with that kind of purpose, people feel your momentum. Even when you're standing still, your posture speaks volumes. You're not slouched, shrinking, or hiding, but you're not puffed up either. You stand tall, not out of ego, but out of respect for yourself. That physical alignment reflects what's happening inside. Presence, strength, certainty. And it changes how people treat you, because the way you carry yourself teaches others how to engage with you without you having to say a word. You're also not in a rush to prove anything. That patience, that steady pace shows people that you're not desperate for outcomes. You know good things take time. You know who you are, and you're not moving faster just to keep up with anyone else. That kind of self-possession is rare, and it creates an energy that draws others in, not because you're chasing them, but because you've built a world that they want to be part of. You also make people feel something they can't always describe. It's safety, it's strength, it's direction. You don't need to dominate a conversation to make your presence known. You can sit in silence and still be the most powerful one in the room, because you've mastered something deeper than charisma. You've developed character. And that shows up in how you enter a space, how you look someone in the eye, how you shake a hand, how you leave people better than you found them. You listen more than you speak, and when you do speak, it matters. That kind of presence is rare, especially in a world full of noise and ego. Most people talk just to fill the silence or to prove how much they know, but not you. You understand that listening is power, it's awareness, it's control. You don't interrupt to impress or talk over someone to compete. You observe, you absorb, you process. And because you're intentional with your silence, your words carry weight when you finally use them. You're not the type to dominate conversations just to be heard. You're the one people turn to when they want to feel understood, not judged. You know how to sit in someone's pain, how to hold space without trying to fix everything, and that ability to be fully present, to make someone feel seen without saying much, is magnetic. Because deep down, everyone is craving connection, not correction. And when you show up as someone who actually listens, not just with your ears, but with your eyes, your energy, your full attention, people remember that. You're not quiet because you don't have something to say. You're quiet because you know not everything needs to be said. You choose your words with precision. You speak only when it adds value. And when you do, people lean in because they know you're not just talking to talk. You're intentional. And in a world of constant noise, intentionality is powerful. It makes people respect you, trust you, and even feel a little intrigued by you. You don't waste energy trying to prove your intelligence. You let your awareness speak for itself. And when you respond, it's with calm, clarity, and depth. You don't react emotionally. You respond with insight. That shows maturity. That shows leadership. People feel safe around someone who doesn't need to dominate every moment, but can still command the moment with just a few words. You also use silence as a filter. You let people reveal themselves by what they say when they think no one's really listening. You pick up on what they avoid, what they emphasize, what they try to hide between the lines. And because you're not distracted trying to be impressive, you become deeply perceptive. You read people with clarity. You see past the performance. And that makes your presence even more attractive because people feel understood without having to explain everything. You're also not afraid of pauses. You don't rush to fill the silence with nervous words or empty talk. You're comfortable letting the space breathe. That stillness communicates inner strength. It tells people you're not operating from insecurity. You're rooted, grounded, present. And that grounded energy creates a level of calm that others crave but rarely experience. You've learned that words can build or destroy, heal or harm. So you don't speak to win, to impress, or to dominate. You speak with intention, and that gives your words weight. When you say something, people remember it, not just because of what you said, but because of how it made them feel. Your voice carries depth because it comes from a place of awareness, clarity, and restraint. And that kind of presence, the kind that listens deeply and speaks wisely, is a quiet force that draws people in without needing to chase anyone. You don't chase approval. You move with self-respect and intention. That's the difference between someone who's constantly looking outside for validation and someone who knows who they are even when no one's watching. You're not performing. You're not bending just to be accepted. You're not watering yourself down to fit into places that don't match your values. Instead, you make choices that align with who you are, not who the world expects you to be. And that authenticity is rare. It's magnetic. It draws people in, not because you're trying to impress them, but because they can feel you're not trying at all. You're not posting for attention, not showing off to get praise, not molding yourself to be what you think people want. You're focused on becoming the best version of yourself for you, not for applause, not for approval, and definitely not to keep up appearances. And that level of self-possession sends a message without a single word. I'm good with or without your validation. And when you move through life like that, people notice, not just because you're different, but because you're real. They feel the groundedness in you, the quiet confidence, the kind of energy that doesn't need to seek the spotlight because it is the spotlight. You make decisions based on your standards, not peer pressure. You say no when something doesn't feel right, even if saying yes would win you points. You're not here to be popular. You're here to be aligned. And that kind of man, he's unforgettable. When someone compliments you, you appreciate it, but you don't rely on it. When someone criticizes you, you consider it, but you don't internalize it. You've learned how to take feedback without letting it shape your identity because your self-worth doesn't rise or fall based on other people's opinions. You're not moved by claps or silence. You're steady. And that steadiness makes you stand out in a world full of insecurity disguised as confidence. You know that chasing approval is a trap. The more you seek it, the more you abandon yourself. So you stopped. You stopped explaining yourself to people who don't even listen. You stopped trying to convince people of your worth. You stopped pretending to be less just to make others feel more. And the moment you did that, you step into a different kind of power, the kind that comes from self-respect, not ego. You also understand that not everyone's going to like you. And you're completely okay with that because you're not for everyone. You're for those who value depth, integrity, consistency. You'd rather be respected by a few than applauded by many who don't even know the real you. That mindset shifts everything. It frees you, it centers you, and it makes your energy undeniable to those who are meant to connect with it. You live with intention. You don't say things just to be liked. You don't do things just to be seen. You act in alignment with your values, your standards, your goals. And when people see that, when they see someone who's not desperate to fit in, they're drawn to it because deep down, everyone craves authenticity, but most people are afraid to live it. When you do, it inspires others to do the same. And that more than anything makes you more attractive than you even realize.